Hello, I'm Kamali, taking you through the stories people are talking about and sharing around the world on NewsFeed today. Facebook has and uses facial recognition technology, but could that be about to change? We look at how the feature is used IRL and online.
But he was doing good, and that's what makes it so bad.
A hugely popular American conspiracy theorist is being sued by parents whose children were killed in the school shooting at Sandy Hook. It's a mystery and the cable companies are staying silent. We ask, who shut down Pakistan's largest network, Geo TV? And baby mama gorilla, a video of a newborn that'll make you say ah or ugh. All right, at the top of the newsfeed, and it's Facebook up in court for storing our faces. We've all by now had that moment when someone tagged you in a picture on Facebook. Maybe, like me, you're quick to hit untag. Now, my producer took this one of me earlier, as I said, untag. But you will have noticed that Facebook sometimes kindly suggests who that person is in your hashtag squad. And have you ever stopped to think, how does it know? Well, it's using facial recognition software, and now a judge in the US state of Illinois is allowing a group of Facebook users to sue as they say they've had their privacy rights breached. But it's not just Facebook using this technology. Check out what the Chinese government is doing with it. Well, for more on this, we can speak to Dr Paul Bernal. He's an expert in this area and works at the University of East Anglia. Dr Bernal, good to speak to you as always. So first off, this Facebook case, it would seem they've got a pretty strong action going through the courts. So have Facebook been storing our faces?
Yes, I mean, from the very beginning, they've been storing our faces. The thing that's changed is that they're now more able to process those faces and do things with them. And we've been putting photographs on Facebook for a very, very long time, since the very beginning. And it's always been in people's minds that we can do things with those pictures. We can do biometric analysis, facial recognition, and then that allows us to do more, make more links. And with Facebook, links are the key. They can link people with other people they know, and they can build up their social map, which is in the end the thing that produces the most value. It's very interesting that this comes up around the same time as all the problems with Cambridge Analytica and political manipulation, because actually the two things are closely connected. They want to know who you know so they can judge your political position, and they can decide how best to target you. And faces are part of that. So tag 5 people in a photograph, you know those 5 people are connected in some way.
Absolutely. And the tech more widely then, Dr Bernal, I can see the benefits. As I mentioned earlier, it's been used to catch crooks, but do you think we should be concerned about possible government or organisation overreach?
We should certainly be concerned about that. I mean, I think we can all see the good ways you can do this, but we should also be aware of the bad ways that we can do this. An authoritarian government can use it to crack down on people that they see as dissidents or enemies. Criminals can use it as a way of targeting people for scams and things like that. And companies can use it for more manipulative purposes, for marketing in particular ways that actually are deceptive and potentially damaging.
Okay, Dr Bernal, thank you very much. Just finally, I watched Ready Player One, the new Spielberg, last night. I don't know if you've seen it, but that kind of technology, that kind of world, do you think this kind of facial recognition and our acceptance that we're going to have to be viewed by everyone at all places where we go is just an inevitable part of the future?
I think it's going to be very difficult for us to resist. We need to make sure that we do resist to some degree, and we put in whatever protections that we can. And part of that is making sure that technology doesn't overreach. Part of that is making sure that the law protects us. And part of that is us learning to be a bit cleverer about how we do this, not putting so many photos on Facebook and places like that, being a little bit more smart about how we operate online.
Okay, Dr. Paul Bernal, thank you as always. All right, let's take a look at what else is trending on social media.
Yeah, we have a part of the aircraft missing, so we're going to need to slow down a bit.
Now, passengers on a Southwest Airlines flight have been praising the pilot Tammy Jo Schultz, who safely landed her plane after one of the engines blew. These pictures were posted online by passengers as the craft came in for an emergency landing. Now, initial investigations show that the plane's engine had one of its fan blades missing. When it broke in mid-air, it caused shrapnel to break through one of the plane's windows. A woman sitting in the window seat was nearly sucked out of the plane. She died from her injuries and has been named as Jennifer Reardon.
Meet us there on the runway as well. We've got injured passengers. No, it's not on fire, but part of it's missing.
We told you yesterday about the British government apologising to migrants from the Caribbean who came to the UK decades ago but faced being deported. Now The Guardian is reporting that they've spoken to a former employee of the Home Office who claims records of people's arrival in the UK were destroyed when the building that they were being stored in was closed back in 2010.
Some guys are only about that thing, that thing, that thing, that thing, that thing.
And to mark 20 years since the seminal album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, Miss Lauryn Hill has announced she's going on tour, so it's an excuse for us to play some good music. This was my producer's favourite track. It's called Doo-Wop brackets That Thing. And the video, as you can see, is pretty good. Her tour begins in Virginia on the 5th of July.
If you did it then, and you probably talking out your neck saying you're a Christian, a Muslim, sleeping with the gin. Now that was the sin that you...
Now, Alex Jones is a broadcaster who specialises in conspiracy theories. His warped ideas have a huge audience in the US and across the world. He was the mouthpiece, along with now President Trump, behind the lie that Barack Obama was not an American citizen. Now, Jones also regularly claimed that Obama was a secret Muslim, as if being a Muslim was a bad thing. That's the kind of man Alex Jones is. Well, now he's being sued. I'll tell you why in a minute. First, here's a video of him crying about Donald Trump bombing Syria.
But he was doing good, and that's what makes it so bad. Oh, and that's what makes it so bad. If he'd have been a piece of crap from the beginning, it wouldn't be so bad. But we made so many sacrifices, and now he's crapping all over us. It makes me sick.
Alex Jones. Now, he's being sued by the parents of children killed in the Sandy Hook school shooting of 2012. Alex Jones is one of the loudest mouths in the US conspiracy crapuniverse, claiming that people involved in mass shootings are crisis actors. That's a person who Jones and people like him say are hired by the liberal media to pretend they've been involved in tragedies. Now, he's been saying the same thing about some of the teenagers who survived the shooting in Florida in February. He's being sued for defamation by the parents of Noah Posner and Jesse Heslin. Now, both boys were 6 years old when they were shot in their school. Alex Jones has regularly claimed the shooting didn't happen and was somehow set up to bring in stricter gun laws for Americans. Now, the biggest satellite news channel in Pakistan has been blocked, and no one seems to be able to explain why. Take a look at this. Let's take you around the world for some other stories you need to know this Wednesday. After this video of two black guys being handcuffed and arrested for waiting in a Starbucks in Philadelphia went viral, the coffee chain says they'll close all their stores in the United States on the 29th of May for staff to be given racial bias training. And Professor Imani Perry tweeted this. That's a link to 47 coffee and tea shops in the US that are black-owned. Now, she says they're a great alternative to Starbucks, and I'd have to agree with the professor, because Starbucks coffee is average at best. The investigation into the shooting of an unarmed black man by police in his grandmother's backyard has revealed that officers involved waited 5 minutes before treating him. The newly released footage shows officers handcuffing and searching Stefan Clark before attempting to resuscitate him. As I said, Stefan was unarmed. He was carrying a phone. Police fired 20 shots at him. They've been put on paid suspension. And what you're looking at is a normal suburban street in Southern California that has been overrun by tumbleweed. As you can see, it's piled high, and the city have had to get a posse together to deal with it. Now, TRT World sent a team to Antarctica about a month ago. Alijan Ayanlar, John Joe Regan and Samir Selvovic. Not because we were trying to banish them, but for news and for science. Now they're back in civilization. They sent us this little recap on what life was like down there. And just a warning, there's some terrible dancing to begin with.
Hello, this is John Joe here, the producer with our TRT World team who've just come back from Antarctica with the Turkish Antarctic expedition. It's been a long 35 days, which is probably why you just saw Alijan dancing there. He's gone just a little bit loco. We've found out that all of us have suffered a little bit from cabin fever. But we're just here in Punta Arenas in the southern tip of Chile. We've come all the way back from Antarctica, and this is the first time we've been back on the continent in over a month. And we're just going live to report on the news that the Turkish Antarctic mission has returned. They are back here, and we're doing a live into the TRT World newsroom. And so I'll just take you over to Alijan, who's going to tell us briefly. Alijan, I'd like you to tell me, what was your best bit about the trip?
I think it'd be better to start off with the worst bit, because that's slightly more memorable. It's actually crossing the Drake Passage. I think not only John Joe and Samir, but pretty much the entire scientific expedition can attest to the fact that I pretty much never left my bunk bed.
True story. He spent a lot of time over the toilet bowl as well, I'm afraid to say. One man that didn't spend any time over the toilet bowl and actually revelled in the Drake Passage and its stormy seas was our cameraman Samir, who's here. Man of few words, but he'll try and say a few now. What was your best bit of the trip?
My best bit of the trip definitely was the amazing wildlife and the scenery.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed you guys struggling.
We did do a lot of struggling. So we're about to go live. There's our camera. That's into the sun a little bit, but so we better leave you there, because we'll be live now into our news bulletins for TRT World.
Thank you, John Joe. Now, here is something that will either make you smile all over or be sick in your mouth just a little bit. This is Kalea, and she's just given birth to that little guy. He's been named Moke, and he was born at the Smithsonian National Zoo in Washington. Now, Kalea is removing the mucus and stuff from little Moke's airways. It looks a little bit like she's showering him with kisses. So it's either ah or and I'll let you decide. That's all from the NewsFeed team. Do reach out to us with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. I'm at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on Twitter, YouTube and Facebook. Follow, subscribe and add. See you again tomorrow.